A very warm good morning to all the little stars of Sri Gokulam Public School. Welcome once again to your English online class. So in our previous classes, we were discussing about some beautiful acts of love and service to the poor people by our happy prince and the little swallow. Without wasting much time, let's quickly get in to know about the more details on how the little swallow and the happy prince were serving the poor and the needy. So let's get into the classes. Next morning, the swallow bird flew down to the harbor and sat on a mast of a ship. He declared loudly that he was going to Egypt. But the workers on the harbor did not bother him. Again he came to the prince and bid farewell to him. The happy prince requested him to stay one more night. The swallow denied the request and said that it is going to be winter and his friends are enjoying the summer sun in Egypt. He did not want to be stuck in the snow in the city. At this point, the happy prince informs him about a little match girl who is crying because all her matches had fallen into the sewage or gutter and got wet. Now she is unable to sell those matchsticks and could not earn any money. This would lead to making her father very angry and he would beat her. For this reason, the girl is unhappy and she is crying. Further, the happy prince said that she was not wearing shoes or stockings and she had not covered her head. She was very poor. The prince wanted the bird to pluck out another sapphire eye and give it to her so that her father wouldn't beat her. The swallow understood the generous and kind heart of the happy prince and told him, "Sir, I will stay with you one more night, but I will not pluck out your eye because then you will become blind." But the happy prince was very adamant and he said he must follow the commands that is given to him. Unwillingly though, the swallow bird plucked out his eye and flew towards the little match girl. He swooped past the match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand. She was so happy that she cried, "What a lovely bit of glass," and ran home laughing. Then the swallow bird came back to the happy prince, and he said that he will stay with him always because he is blind. The prince requested him to fly to Egypt and enjoy his time with his friends. But the swallow bird refused and he said that he wished to take shelter in his abode. All the next day, the swallow bird sat on the prince's shoulder and told him many stories of the strange lands that the bird had visited. The prince was very happy to hear those stories, but told him what he found more interesting was the sorrows and the pains of the people suffering in those lands. The bird informs him that there is no mystery as great as misery. The happy prince now wanted the swallow bird to fly across the city and observe the miseries that he see in his city, and wanted the bird to narrate those stories to him. The swallow bird flew over the city and told him what all sorrows and pains that he saw in the prince's city. He said that he saw that the rich people were partying and enjoying themselves while the poor people were left on the streets to suffer, to beg, and to struggle. Under the archway of a bridge, the bird had seen two little boys who were trying to hug each other to keep themselves warm in the winter climate, and they were very hungry too. But a cruel watchman had shouted at them and asked them to move into the streets and suffer there. The poor children kept wandering in the rain as they were homeless. The story of the two little boys caused much pain to the happy prince, and the prince told the swallow bird that he is covered with many layers of gold sheet, and he wanted the swallow bird to take out leaf by leaf those gold sheets and give it to those who are suffering and in trouble. The swallow bird followed the instructions of the happy prince and took out the leaf of gold from the happy prince and gave it to the little boys. The little boys were very happy to earn their bread by having this gold leaf. In the similar manner, the swallow helped all the suffering people by giving those leaves of gold to those who are suffering. Now the happy prince was left without precious jewels or gold. All his dull metal was now seen, and the happy prince looked very ugly and dirty. Yet the swallow bird refused to leave the happy prince and stayed along with him. Then came snow and frost. The little bird was suffering in the cold climate, but still he wanted to be with the happy prince. He tried to keep himself warm by flapping the wings, but it could do no help to the little swallow bird. Finally, he began to realize that he is going to die because of the extreme coldness. Finally, the swallow bird had little strength to fly up to the prince's shoulder. He wanted to say his final farewell to the prince before dying. So he sat on his shoulder and requested the happy prince to allow him to kiss on his hand as he was soon going to die. The happy prince thought that he was bidding farewell as he was going to Egypt. And the happy prince said, "You have stayed too long with me, now you must go to Egypt." But also he tells that instead of kissing on his hand, the bird may kiss on his lips because the happy prince loved the prince all too much. The bird told the happy prince that he is indeed leaving, but not to Egypt, but to the house of death. He is going into a forever sleep, and that means death. And he kissed the happy prince on the lips and soon fell dead at his feet. It is told that as the bird fell down, dying, the happy prince's leaden heart had broken into two. But for the people who saw it, they thought that the extreme coldness had made the metal heart, to crack. Later, one day, the mayor of the city was passing by the statue, and he saw the statue of Happy Prince and said that the Happy Prince statue is very untidy and dirty without gold and precious jewels. The town councillors also agreed to the statement of the happy prince, of the mayor. The mayor saw that a dead bird is lying at his feet, and he immediately said that a rule should be sent out, a rule should be set that birds are not allowed to die in front of precious statues. The foolish town councillors also agreed to this statement of the mayor. The art professor of the university said that now the statue of the happy prince did not look beautiful, nor was it useful, so hence they should demolish it. So they took out the statue of the happy prince and melted the statue, which was made of lead, in a furnace. But surprisingly, the workmen in the factory found that the heart of the happy prince did not melt. They said that it was very strange, and they decided to throw it away. Coincidentally, they threw the heart of the happy prince where the dead swallow was also lying. Later, in heaven, God had asked one of his angels to bring him two most precious things of the city. The angel went into the city and brought the two pieces of heart of the statue and the dead swallow bird. The God said to the angel that he had indeed done the right thing and brought the precious things from the city. He said that the bird would always sing in the garden of his paradise, and the happy prince would stay in the city of gold and admire God always. So, my dear children, what is your opinion about the acts of love done by the happy prince and the little swallow? Of course, it was very, very meaningful and deeply touching inside our heart. We have learned through the happy prince and the little swallow that God blesses the one who serves the poor. The very meaning of our life is not to accumulate wealth, riches and luxury and enjoyment for our own life, but to be selfless and care and feel sympathetic towards the ones who are in need. Let us all be good human beings inside our heart and be of service to those who are in need. Let's make our life meaningful and worthwhile by working for the poor and the needy people. So with this, I'm concluding today's class. Write down your notes and study properly. I want all of you to attempt the English review test and be concentrated in your studies. In the meantime, look out and find the ones who are in need and live your life worthfully and meaningfully. Thank you and have a nice day.